Bring out the ham, Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or President Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is the Tuesday night edition. Yes, it is. Is it? Let's make sure. No. I'm running on the week, the Monday night edition of the Corridor Transformation. So many things are happening and so many multiple tasking that one has to do that sometimes, of course, the brain kind of lapses from time to time. You will forgive me, I'm only human. But that being as it may, we have a wonderful program, of course, as usual. We have to continue, of course, this Forex and where this Forex is going fundamentally and why it is you cannot get a $50 or $20 or a $50 US, and then you have to go, of course, in the black market where, of course, the real price of a US dollar is exchanged, meaning a 10 for 1. 10 TT for 1 US dollar. That's the reality. But in spite of all of that, we are Trinbagonians, and this is the season for what? Yes, for exactly that. Let's say a little bit before, of course, we go into the serious matter of the Forex exchange and where it has gone.
The status quo works for the PNM and their friends.
Players say, able. Headline is, Naikwan gets default rating from CARICRES. And what we are being told here is that as at the 31st of March of 2024, Naikwan had owed its customers or had accumulated debts amounting to $450 million US.
Let us, of course, pause there. Let me say formally a pleasant good night once again to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, this again is the Sunday. Let me Sunday now. Like I'm going forward and then I'm going backward and vice versa. But that's all right. I'll get there. This Monday night edition of the Corridor Transformation. Of course, as I promised last night, we had an incomplete or unfinished task, and that is to say where fundamentally the foreign exchange has been going. This is an elitist and extremely toxic, and they have weaponized, of course, government against the people, and their toxicity knows no limit. And their level of what I consider to be disrespectful, dishonorable, conmanship, as well as mafia-type criminal behavior, it too has no limit. And we are seeing, of course, a double whammy in the context of the toxicity or the weaponizing of government against the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the very specific area of course, promoting their friends in the legal fraternity and providing them, of course, with handsome brief paid in US dollars. Yes, that too. So why is Naikwan is on the one hand, and we will, of course, examine that critically tonight and incisively. We also have a situation where lawyers representing, of course, the frivolous, the superficial, the superfluous arguments and the matters that they take to court, whether it be, of course, and while it is sub judice, so I don't want it to preempt anything except to say that since, of course, the Junior Sammy matter, and the government has been instructed by the Privy Council to pay Junior Sammy over $80 million owing to them as a consequence of withholding monies that was due to that company haven't done work. And I am saying that against a specific background, because tonight is further, of course, microscopic examination of this government to further indict them as to their incompetence, impotence, and conman and conwoman behavior. You see, I can take it from any angle, whether is top individuals who are not in their good books, or I can take it from the lower, or should I say the grassroots level, or the ordinary workman's level, to demonstrate how insensitive and how self-serving and how nepotistic and how cronyistic this government has demonstrated itself to be over the last 9 years. We are talking, of course, Forex in essence, and the non-availability or the paucity or scarcity thereof, and therefore that is the essence of tonight's program. But I want you to understand that therein lies a Trojan, what I consider to be a Trojan horse, but of course a very, very conspicuous, very clear, very open, because Trojans suggest that something is clandestine and working from within, and as a consequence, when it would have unleashed its venom, extremely dangerous. We saw that, of course, with the Greek story about Helen of Troy and the Trojan horse. Well, of course, Rowley and they are themselves Trojan horses, and then they have built-in Trojan horses, and then therefore you could safely say that they are Trojan horses at different levels. So much so that they have now been engaged in a process of implosion. They are collapsing on themselves, in other words. But let me start, I think, where I am most comfortable, and that is to say, to deal with the ordinary man. You see, and I am talking here about how vindictive and how disingenuous and how dishonest and how malfunctioning are these people, and how the hell they get into government is a mystery in itself. I'm sure from anybody who is looking on at Trinidad and Tobago's operation from outside and saying, what the hell is going on here? How come a people can allow such dangerous elements, the worst of them all? I think, of course, that there is a guy who never loses an opportunity to remind me about persons who are least able or are least qualified to, of course, run government. They find themselves in government. Kakistocracy. Yes, I remember very distinctly. It is called kakistocracy. A government by those who are least qualified to, of course, manage the affairs of the country, as indeed is Trinidad and Tobago and the PNM. And they could wallow, they could wail, they could, of course, engage in cacophonous babblings, and they could, of course, engage in grandiloquence, fake as they all are, but the fact of the matter is that because they are in the position that persons who are more capable, more concerned, and much more patriotic ought to be, they then, of course, pretend that somehow they are seeking the national or the public's or the citizens' interest. I say to them, hold the tail. And I say to you too, the extent to which you can, of course, generate the emotion of animosity, of hatred, of anathema, I say it is well placed. Well placed. The more angry you become, the more concerned you will be, and then therefore you will share that concern, having regard, as we said on the ground report this morning, because of your personal experiences are plural, and the reality of your circumstance, and of course totally incongruent and not, of course, is asymmetrical to that which they are spouting all over the place, and when it is convenient, they then of course conform to reality, telling us the truth. But of course that is scarce, and that is sparse, and that is of course only for an attempt to try to get sympathy for doing us harm. Imagine that. The PNM and Rowley and they are looking for sympathy for doing us harm. They have scuttled our foreign exchange. They have mismanaged our economy. They cannot address the question of crime. Our borders are porous to the hilt. And we can go on and on. But let's go to the lines immediately, because I think tonight will be a very glorious night for, of course, frank and fair and compassionate and yet still vociferous discussion. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
And pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who is going to vote out the PNM. Mr. Lennox,
hey.
I am a traffic group, and I was having a conversation about all that we will be speaking about, or the dishonesty, the thieving, everything that's going wrong in the country. Nothing is not working. The country gone to hell in a handbag.
Yes.
And a lady, them my bunta, them PNM and them. One run out. She said the people is not suffering. I want to hear it clearly, because they could go in a casino and win money. Well, Mr. Lennox, I want to know what is someone talking about. So I say that to say, the PNM, sorry to say this, but the truth, and the truth does hurt. The PNM supporters are not bright enough. That is why Dr. Keith Christopher Wicked is benefiting off of their ignorance. And they'll try anything to keep him there because they don't know nothing else. And if you try to keep or treat a PNM supporter good, they will feel you're doing them something wrong because they are accustomed being treated badly. And I fact, Mr. Lennox. I'm telling you plain, I fact, because when you look around in this country today, Mr. Lennox, line is nothing working, nothing happening, and you're now saying it. They included in this on the cell phone kind of thing. They don't know what direction, no ideas, nothing is taking place. It's like people walking along like skeleton in the country. I watch a man today talking, and I swear the man was on a cell phone. The way how the man was reasoning with himself.
Yeah, that is a frequent occurrence, and I mean, a person may experience that 3 or 4 times for the day if they are walking any street in Port of Spain or other parts of the country.
Yes, but Lennox, Mr. Lennox, back to business.
Go ahead.
Mr. Lennox, what is, and when I say it, I can listen off here. What is your view? Because I ain't tuned into the program. I missed a couple nights because I was busy doing something.
No problem.
So I want to ask this question, and I will listen off air.
No problem.
Because my chain of thought go on, but it will come back to me anytime I'm listening to you, my chain of thought has come back. What is your view on the PNM convention that put off and the PNM internal election? What is your view on that? What is your view on it pertaining to what is taking place, and what you believe that was suspended or they ain't having it anymore? What is your view on it? What do you think about it? And soon as I listen to you, my chain of thought will come back and I will call back in. Because sometimes I don't want to get back my chain of thought when I forget what I was going to say. Listening to you, because everything will be coming, the way they'll be coming, the way they'll be bringing to us, then bring back no chain of thought.
Thank you very much.
I will listen off air based on what I know actually there.
Yeah, thank you very much, of course, for describing me as a memory jilter. Jilting meaning jogging the memory, making sure that the adrenaline is going and that the people can become alert and therefore aware of the environment. But to respond specifically to the question asked by the caller, it is clear. Let me give you the conclusion first. It is clear that the PNM, one, is imploding. Two, there is of course a tremendous amount of dissent within the PNM. Thirdly, of course, there is a leadership crisis clearly within the PNM, in spite of Dr. Rowley's belief that he is in control or attempted to suggest that he is in control. And of course, I am going to explain all of that and why I am drawing that conclusion. And fourthly, I think they are in a mess in terms of when to call the elections. Yes, so when to call the election. But of course, the longer they take to call it, is worse the situation will come, because people are going to be juggling for respective position. And I am sure that among the discussions within the imploding of the PNM, the internal explosion of the PNM, and the internecine, of course, discontentment will be, of course, Rowley's style of management. He has been rambunctious, he has been brutal, he has been savage, he has been like a Neanderthal, a caveman approach in order to treat with the internal operations of the PNM. And it is clear, because he is such a nasty narcissist, let me repeat, because he is such a nasty narcissist and self-serving, he would, of course, try to get his way by brutality. And we have seen that when he, of course, approached the media, and how he would deal with the media, and how he will speak about women, and how he approached, of course, the whole question of the public servants, and the way how he dealt with, of course, the COVID. We must not forget how they dealt with COVID. They would like us to believe that somehow, because they call a large sum of money, over $22 billion, that somehow that equates they doing well. Well, of course, it is doing well to the extent and equal to when the Minister of Health told us, don't wear masks. Don't wear masks. And that, of course, the virus reaching Trinidad and Tobago is almost nil. Tell us all of that. And then afterwards, of course, what they did, we were, of course, subjected to the most brutal measures. And of course, when we decided to protest against that kind of nonsense, and that kind of misinformation, disinformation, and ineptitude, we were faced, of course, with potential prison term, being charged. And then, of course, on another occasion, we were tear gassed because we are saying that Rowley must go, the PNM must go, and they responded to us in that way. I'm talking about pushback 1, pushback 2. If those of you may not be aware, well, you are aware now that there was, of course, 5,000 and 9,000 persons assembled and walked around this savannah in protest of this government and their management, not just of COVID, but across the board, as we know now. But they responded with tear gas in one instance, and in the other instance, some 22 persons were charged with, of course, allegedly, or should I say, purporting to have breached the public health regulation relating, of course, to COVID in the savannah, because they were saying that we were not sufficiently distant, the social distancing concept. Well, in the grandstand, not in the grandstand, in the entire savannah, you're telling me that you're so stupid, you don't know that it is impossible for 5,000 persons to not fit inside of that place and appear to be a crowd? The savannah is about 3 miles around. 3 miles around. So you can imagine how much space that is inside here. The police so insensitive, or put another way, so PNM instruction oriented and probably protecting, of course, those that are unprotectable. Let me put it that way. They cannot protect that which cannot be protected, but they tried. And as a result, they faltered in the way that they did. I'm talking about here the police. I am going to bring some, of course, clips and so on, so you will get an appreciation as to what transpired there, because we have some time and we are going to, of course, regurgitate, and we are going to, of course, reminisce, and we are going to say in no uncertain terms and prove how dangerous the PNM is. But let me, so to answer your question, my friend, is that they are imploding, and that they are very confused, and that people are juggling for various positions now, and they know that the PNM is on its last, and therefore it's going to have a sudden fall, not from grace, but continue to fall from disgrace, having regard to what has transpired over the last 9 years in a Rowley-led PNM administration. My position is very simple, because you asked me what my position is. Our job is to make certain that PNM as an entity, as a political device, as a political mechanism, as a political entity, is relegated to the dustbin of political history in Trinidad and Tobago. What does that mean? It's very simple, that as far as I am concerned, people like myself, our work has now started. Having gotten rid of PNM in Tobago, having gotten rid and eventually having gotten rid of the PNM in Trinidad, then of course, like Jack Warner, Rowley may have to be living or sustaining himself over the Bocas, because it will be Trinidad for Kamala, and of course in Tobago you have, of course, Fali, and Rowley will end up with the and, meaning that in between, and therefore living over the Bocas. I wish him luck, but of course, but that has to be before, or should I say after, he would have been subjected to blue lights and silver bracelet. He has brought that into the vocabulary of the politics. He has brought that into, of course, the lexicon, the dictionary of politics in this country, and we are going to, of course, hold him subjected thereto, and therefore blue lights and silver bracelet ultimately will be his ultimate destiny. And I dare say all of them in the cabinet who have stood there and made decision to close down Petrotrin, to purchase, of course, the Cabo Star and the Ocean Flower, as well as the Galleon Passage, to, of course, dangerously subvert or undermine the sea bridge between Trinidad and Tobago in their early days, to undermine, of course, the administration in Tobago, having, of course, lost handsomely in Tobago, and then, of course, the exploitation of the goodwill of the people, having regard to a police investigation into the fake oil matter. The entire cabinet conspired to save Rowley from, of course, being embroiled in that investigation. And then, of course, on his own volition, on his own merit, he then, of course, goes and interferes with the shortlist for a commissioner of police in this country by preempting the shortlist that was organized by the Police Service Commission, which he had no authority so to do, and in the process jeopardized for the first time and subjecting to the possibility of an impeachment a sitting president at the time, Paula May Weeks. A pleasant good night. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Mr. Lennox. Are you hearing me clearly?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Okay, nice, thanks. I want to find out something from you. So the police where you said that went on instruction on the PNM and thing. Now, if we change administration, we could get people out of permanent secretary seats, I think. We could get people out of the EBC, I think. But how we getting a chance to deal with the police?
Wonderful,
Because-
wonderful question, my friend. And let me tell you up front, the fact that the UNC got irrefutable evidence and the knowledge to share with the public with respect, of course, to the presence of Delcy Rodriguez that was supposed to be clandestine. Rowley, of course, engaging in the most, what I consider to be undermining of the office of the Prime Minister by making an intervention, inserting himself in the process of the Police Service Commission. And of course, as I said earlier, literally causing a sitting president to almost to be impeached or subjected to impeachment, because the process did start with, of course, a coming together of both houses of parliament for the purpose. Well, how did that happen? It happened because there are clearly either conscientious citizens in all of these agencies of government, including the police, and therefore those are the ones that are going to come to the fore when, of course, the administration changes, and they are going to, of course, identify those. There are those that are clear, like, of course, the several commissioners of police. We know clearly where their positions are, because they have gone against the grain of the public's interest by, of course, bringing into play, sometimes not contemplated by the law. I'm talking about the Summary Offences Act, when, of course, they will amend the people's protest approval by saying, listen, you could come from a particular area, but you can't come into Port of Spain, etc., etc. And of course, no indication, no justification for so doing, no indication that it would have been a violent march. It's just, it is clear that they are, of course, reading from the book of their political masters. So therefore, that is clear. And there's a level where, of course, they must have backup. But those persons who have disclosed information so vital, if not, we would have been none the wiser. Those are the ones the new administration will have to depend on to weed out those, what I consider to be evil elements that are within the police service and the general defense and or security apparatus of Trinidad and Tobago. That is where I see that is going. So we are in a good place. No frightened about that. Of course, you could shift around the permanent secretaries and so on if they are not, of course, or they have been found wanting. You can't dismiss the permanent secretaries like that, but you could shift them around and get, of course, a permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, who automatically is the head of the public service and therefore the boss of all of the permanent sec, to, of course, do what is right in order to bring some kind of semblance of equality and equanimity in the system, having regard to the poison that Rowley and they have exhibited over the last 9 years, and therefore next year will be 10 years. So that's my position, my friend. That's how I think we should get it. Are you still there? All right, he has gone. All right, so he just asked the question. Yes, but I was making the point to people about those at the lowest rung of the, should I say, business and construction ladder. Let me put it that way. Because we have evidence of the brutality of this government and the advantage that it would take on those who they don't consider to be equal to them in terms of being a PNM. That is what they see as equal. Not that you are more intelligent than them, etc. No, that is not the criteria. You are not a PNM, and therefore they see things as a PNM and everybody else. Well, I want to tell them. Let's go to the lines, and then, of course, I will continue my discourse in that regard, leading right up, of course, to the forex situation and the Wayne Mark waiting in the wings. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Lennox Smith, good night.
Good night to you as well.
Are you hearing me clearly?
Loud and clear, my dear.
Right. So I listening this evening and on a program that had there in the evening,
Yes.
and I heard that they want to open back the refinery.
Yes.
You heard about that?
Well, it is the intention of this government, even though they have closed it down and they said that they're going out of the business, etc. But you can see their conduct shows that that is the intention. So Jindal is just one part of the puzzle or the cog in that wheel. But go ahead.
But I want to know if you heard about it and what you think about them opening it back up, you know?
No. Well, I have not heard that they want to open it back. They have stood by the position that somebody else will open it with their, of course, on their behest, on their encouragement, and their facilitation. But the fact that they want to open it up is because of the forex crisis that they have created by closing it in the first place. All of those are factors that would have generate an urgency, an extra urgency for getting foreign exchange. Because remember, Imbert and not you, but I want to tell
Yes,
the people
ma'am.
here, don't get me vexed before I play it, that Imbert said in non-certain terms
What's man?
that the refinery was in fact a net earner of foreign exchange. Go ahead.
Well, my idea with this idea they have about opening it back up is some kind of trick they on, you know. You hear? You see that young man friend he have is they who want to have the refinery up, and they're using Jindal, or I should say they have Jindal as a proxy because it have problems with, you know, fuel going to these Caribbean countries, right?
Yes.
It's problem to refine it for all of us. We have to refine for ourselves. These CARICOM countries, is a lot of money they're balling, and the gas is so much for them is so much to pay for, right? Now I'm sure you heard they said, right, that they just have to buy TT dollars. I think it's so it go, but it is paying TT dollars. Let me put it so because I understand it so. For the for for the um for the gas that they're selling, they just get paid with TT dollars. And you was assuming, you know, they get TT dollars from another country. You remember that?
Yeah, but of course, but recently, Imbert turned and say, with respect to the problem with the forex, his last meeting last week, he said that
Yes.
they getting paid in USA. So because I want to know where the hell they getting the US from, quite apart from the borrowing and quite apart from the HSF that they have been reading
But
on a regular
a
basis.
caller call in and say, you know, they're paying with TT dollars. I find that real strange.
I too,
You know?
from the time I heard it, I say, but what nonsense is this?
Yeah.
And more so, all of us know that 80% of our foreign exchange comes as a consequence of the activities in the oil, gas, and petrochemical area. So how the hell you say maybe a few of them, or in specific circumstances, they're probably getting paid in TT, but I cannot see that we could have all that forex over the years and that we were getting paid in TT. That is a hoax, frankly.
Yes, because if you're selling fuel to CARICOM, some of these CARICOM countries using EC dollar. So
Yeah.
you know why not that? I say,
At
God,
minimum,
what
yeah.
kind of thing is that? The first caller call and say, you know, he would like to find out from you why they didn't have the internal elections and so on the convention.
Yeah.
Well, my take on that is I feel this man ain't want to have any general elections this year. You know, he want to cancel it. And then when you look at this idea, they have to open back the refinery. It wouldn't be for today, for tomorrow. That would take like a year and something to, you know, get back into that with all kind of negotiations, etc., and fixing and all of that. So they're moving in that way where they want to open back the refinery. They're moving as though they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Right? No, we have to look at that. We have to pay attention and listen carefully. What is the plan? Who they're dealing with to open this refinery. But I know it's Maduro again. We can't take no chance, right? We have to jam them. They have to tell us exactly what they're doing. They having no non-disclosure because they try all how for
Oh
the
yes.
years.
Oh
They
yes.
try all how
Since they
to
came
sell
into
it.
government, yeah.
And every time, no, not since they came, they dare, they sell it. And after they sell the refinery, every time they try to sell it is Maduro, is Venezuela.
Oh, you say
They're
that
up
there's a
to
common
something.
there's a common denominator, something connected to Venezuela on
Well,
every occasion. Yeah,
yes.
okay.
We putting the pieces together. You
All right.
can't stray from that. Never
Okay.
mind, they say they're going to do it. When you hear what it is they're going to do and how much they're going to put out to bring it back up, we can't just swallow that just so. You cannot trust these people
All right.
because they closed down the refinery to open oil producing company to sell fuel. Hmm?
Yeah.
But I tell you see that same Alex Saab, the mafia tell you, Alex Saab and they, Maduro, that is who are talking about. They like to open oil producers, be opening oil producing companies in different parts of the world to rob foreign exchange.
Yes.
The phantasma. And you can't catch up with them. And then they used to be laundering it in Miami and another place, right? Another country. I can't remember the name right now.
Okay.
I think it's Switzerland, right? And this is why they got sanctions. Now people just tell me I'm talking one thing over and over, but this is why we end up in this. Because I was telling you that a long time now. And they didn't want to hear about Maduro. It have who still don't want to hear. But it's them, right?
Yeah.
That Venezuelan government have us in this today. I also gave you a video in English, right? Where is a whole amount of information telling you about the mafia, the Nicolas Maduro regime mafia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rowley tell us is a mafia. I telling you is a Nicolas Maduro mafia. This is a dangerous thing I do in here. And you all do appreciate it, but I know Big Stone going to pelt. And who we will assume it going to pelt to, it go be to the wrong ones that you thinking and others thinking. I gave Andy a video to get it translated in English so he could play it for people to hear years ago in the earlys. That video showing all what take place when Mark Luke signed and he signed and everybody signed, all kind of thing, apart from the dragon gas. And he in business because I know who tell him not to do that, or don't do it. Right?
Okay.
And we pay dear for it.
I don't think I wouldn't sit here and hear you accuse Andy of such. I don't think
No,
anybody
he
could influence him.
he talk on here. I telling you, it have hooders listen to me and they will remember. Several times I tell him Andy about the video and that video it play on air. Right? And
Right.
you all saw, but it was in Spanish, but it had Nicolas Maduro's speech where Rowley and they never gave us. They only show with their information how they sign in, but I had the information and I told him to use COF, use the technology and get it into English and you would hear everything.
Yeah.
And
No, I
nothing.
was speaking specifically that you went on to say, suggesting that there's something, untoward when you said that you don't know who talked to him. I don't think that is a fair statement to make.
It is fair. I assume and I say somebody could have tell him don't do it.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, so
Nothing wrong with
I
that.
have to defend that by saying that is not of my knowledge of him. Nobody could sway any one of us to do what we don't want to.
Listen. it have who could tell him, look, leave that alone. Don't bother. You understanding where I'm coming from?
Yeah, but I would know.
You would know?
Yeah, I would know. Yes, I would.
You doesn't know nothing.
All right.
You just be
All right. You see, I mean, you
dancing.
see,
Yeah,
you're being
you is
presumptuous
a
again.
dancer man. You understand me?
You're being presumptuous
You-
again. I mean,
Watch me. You
a
like
lot of people would
dancing.
disagree with you. I'm sure tonight they would disagree with you.
Watch me.
Having
I
regard
telling all
to
you.
what they
All
know
you drop
of me.
the ball in the earlies, else we wouldn't have be here. You is a dancer man. You ain't have time for too much thing. You like to dance.
All right. So that's it.
That's it.
All right. Let me see if I could bring something closer to you. I will go back to, of course, with Mark afterwards with respect to the with respect to the foreign forex. I think you raised a very important point that, of course, the government appears to be looking at focusing on the re-establishment of the oil refinery. Of course, Dr. Rowley has said in no uncertain terms that, listen, they have come out of the business. They are not interested in it, and that it is not viable, etc., etc. Let's go to the lines, and then, of course, we will I'll try to get that video for you. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox,
Pleasant
and
good
all
night
your
to you as
listeners
well,
on the
my friend.
worldwide,
Yes.
and to share every word that is broadcast tonight. So, Mr. Lennox,
Mhm.
you see you, I will be brutal tonight.
No
10
problem.
more months for you. 10 more months for you.
Mhm.
But you know what I don't like about you?
Go ahead.
You say that my extreme political leader, right,
Mhm.
can't get an internal election going. And what's she afraid? Mr. Lennox, you see you? You had an election for 3 days and 100,000 members. And you only get 7,600 and something. And you hold on to bully all your cabinet ministers and them to do your dirty bidding. But
hear
you see, you, Mr. Lennox,
I hear you.
you went in a convention the other day in Napa, in the Savannah, and you had all the cronies and them with the bullwhip, and you tell them, what were the hoodwink and to hijack the constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, and say that you'll change it. And all they come back now to say, no, you want to move the tree ship. Eh? But
Go ahead, my
Mr.
friend.
Lennox,
You can make how much Freudian slip you want on this program. I like
No,
your
but
Freudian slip.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
But go ahead.
but when your convention failed to hijack, to say that you get the mandate, you put your tail between the cupboard door and the drawers, and you run. But don't worry, you come back now, and you want to remain in power as an executive president, or you're following Maduro.
Mm.
You following Maduro. Here what's going on. The membership, you see, they're changing the representative in the press areas, and they say that is all good and well. But you see, you, Mr. Lennox,
Yeah, let me hear you.
as day followed night, my good friend, LeConte will tell you where to get off.
I hear
Because
you.
Because I and Mr. LeHunt, the man who say drip by drip this full of cup, and he could conserve water. But here what's going on. I only hope all remember the Ghana connection with Republic Bank. You see you, Mr. Lennox? In 2020, you call and you say you're going to give my union the refinery. And then you say them will get it when the election done. Then you come now and you're coming up the road. You say the Indians are no good. You see you, Mr. Lennox? You say the Indians are good. And then you run. And look at India now. You have more Indian than in India in your cabinet. And the African diaspora suffering. And what your commenters tell the black man. Mr. Lennox, you put them in modernized slavery. You tell them they're gonna get what the money name from the king. When they go to the Congress, the Sabatal,
Yeah,
so you're gonna get.
Oh yeah. They had a retreat. All of that. Yeah. Okay.
So you see how you're misleading and people and them? But I want you to call it another election. But I see you trying to tell the five dissident in my party to make a diversion. But I want to ask you tonight now, besides Jindal, right? Just as how it had an electrician in some apartment in America. That's only hope you will bring that set of people and you register it good enough that we want to see where the people who own the boat, which part are they, and here what's going on. You feel you bright. You tell me wait until 2027 for a better day. So you know Trump is going to win. So you know that the next 4 years in 2027, when he move, but I want to access something now. Now when Trump opened up the gas in America and the gas for internal use and the price of crude oil drop, you're going to open a refinery now. Who are you fooling? Because it's cheaper to open it when it was high. Now we're going to drop the price of crude. And it will cost, who will buy at a lower price? It will cost it cheaper to import. Mr. Lennox, if you had drilled more and it had a robust energy sector development and stop sucking out of the UNC, it would be a better economy. Have a good night, Mr. Lennox.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to plead people total and absolute ignorance. That fella clearly made a mistake, and I'm being generous here, a mistake between myself and Dr. Rowley. Clearly he had described what Dr. Rowley is, what he has done, his incompetence and impotence. Of course, Dr. Rowley couldn't organize a program such as this. And having had challenges, for example, Midway and recently meaning about 3 months ago, we were able to successfully emerge out of it. And tonight we are having, of course, Tom, Dick, Harry, and anybody who wants to express themselves on this program tonight. At one time, of course, it was a challenge. It was irksome experience. But today, of course, it is as, of course, pulling teeth from a baby, if you want to call it that, or indeed sucking a well-deserved, possibly ice cream and cone. So I just want to make sure that people get that clearly. I plead no association with those statements relating to, as if to suggest that I am cut of the same cloth of Keith Christopher Rowley. Those matters are Rowley's failure, his burden, and blue lights and silver bracelet. I will not want to share in with or about that particular matter, as Dr. Rowley and his minions are destined to, of course, engage and face the abyss of the results of their evil management of the resources of the country and their misappropriation agenda. Totally criminalistic, evil, wicked, and diabolical. That being as it may, we continue, of course, to trying to get that video together as well. In terms of the previous caller, not the last one, but the previous one, in terms of the government trying vociferously and deliberately to get, of course, the oil refinery going. They haven't, of course, closed it down for specious and questionable reasons, and today they are hell bent, having of course given us property tax, increasing electricity, and to come water and our port activities, and therefore the cost of importing items, all of that. They have failed, in other words, and therefore attempting, of course, to look for mercy from us. We shall show no mercy. We have no mercy to offer. They haven't made us, of course, merciless as a society and as citizens. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox, good night.
A good night to you, my friend.
Pleasant good night to you, man.
Yes.
I'll see your boy hit 550 for the 4th time. Murder total.
Well, boy, what are you going to do?
Right? That's his legacy. 550 murders.
Yes.
4 times.
Yes. Breaking records after record. One after the next successively. And you want to play that you is prime minister and all his government. Get the hell out of office. Go ahead, my friend.
Next thing I want to draw attention to, look.
Yes. I hear you'll be kind of losing contact. Hola? All right, we seem to have. I see that the line is still engaged, so there may be some drop in maybe in internet or from what device that that caller is calling. All right, I'll stay on the line a little bit because I see that an attempt is being made to get back in communication. All right, we have lost him. All right, so people, what I'm doing in the meantime, of course, is actually preparing the video. So I'm doing it as we speak. Yeah, that's how good I got. But the problem here with this government, the more that they are in government, it appears to be more neophytic they become. They become, should I say, less experienced, unprofessional, and engaging, of course, in puerile and a level of incompetence unprecedented. They are total charlatans or quacks. The more they're in government, more quacks they become, it appears. And some may well say cracks as well. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, I got cut off.
Yeah, we just got a little break in transmission there, but go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I was watching another program where I had called you some nights back concerning a Venezuelan national.
Yes.
Where he has a Trinidad and Tobago ID card, born in Chaguanas, and he has a Venezuelan ID card.
Yes.
Now election next year, isn't that kind of peculiar? So all these Venezuelans, how many of them, like him, have in possession of a Trinidad and Tobago ID card?
Yeah. No, that's a serious development. And there was a concern when the EBC was asked to provide those registration documents. I'm sure with the fullness of time and with the way how things are going, people are going to give us an opportunity to view and to examine, if not a copy, but an actual card. So we will get an appreciation as to what they can do with that, whether they can vote with it, as the case may be. So, so it is still not yet conclusive, but it is a troubling concern, and we are going to consistently monitor this matter. It's not going to be on the back burner at all.
Yeah, because I don't trust the government, you know.
Yeah, nobody does. Nobody does. In the right mind. Nobody in the right mind.
No. Because they are in desperate mood at present.
Yes, clearly. They are imploding. They seem not to know A from bullfoot. They seem to be not clear in their heads as to where to go. And that is as a result of the hoodwinking and gaslighting and the deception.
Yeah, because they have been lying. They have been lying to us for the last 9 years. Lies upon lies upon lies. Yeah, the worst government I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, boy, oh, good
I
boy.
went through
All over the
Williams,
place, you know.
Chambers. I went through Williams, Chambers, Robinson, Manning, Pandey, Kamla. But this man is the worst boy. Oh God. I just, I just can't understand.
That disgrace.
But good night.
Yeah, I hear you.
I will listen to you up here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have to continue, of course, to persevere in spite of the challenges. After all, elections is not yet over. Of course, it is yet to be called, but we are existing in an atmosphere of anticipation sooner rather than later. But whether it's sooner or later, for them, the die has been cast and the outcome is inevitable. Let me get back as I have the little time, to, of course, look at the whole question of the elements, the factors, the variables that has caused the collapse of the society under the mismanagement of Rowley. Of course, we just got another indication as to the crime situation and another development with respect to an unfair advantage that is stereotypical of Rowley. He will see that as a fair game. That is to say, to do evil, to, of course, be dishonest and see it as honest once he gets back into government. And we say he mustn't get back at all, and that they must be jettisoned. And of course, question of blue lights and silver bracelets is about how much years and how much is the punishment. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that caller. Call back. I did engage you, and I inadvertently pressed a number. Yeah, okay, let me just, press the,
Lennox.
yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the real jamming is signal, but dropping and coming and sometimes the real jamming is signal.
All right. Well, no, I think I'm trying to set up, like I have too much on the system. I'm trying to set up I'm trying to create a video at the same time, and I think that might have created some problems to me. But I'm glad that you mentioned that. So let me check on something again that I was minded to check on earlier. Let me just check that.
I did call earlier on and ask you about the situation with the police and how you deal with the police, and then the signal dropped just so.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. So let me just
I just want you to find out something from me again, that when a lot of Venezuelans who was here end up getting the help to go to America.
Yes.
Right. So now that Trump getting a lot of them thinking that they go get deported back now, because Trump say he ain't taking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, son.
Yes.
So I just want to know if you know anybody in Arima who have room for can buy me full now.
I hear you. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Well, it appears by time Trump finished, the whole of Trinidad might be filled. Yeah.
You go check around for me if you know.
I will, my friend. I see how at least you are not xenophobic. You're not afraid of strangers. But of course, to be over hospitable sometimes leads to destruction, as we are seeing with they engaging in crime and involving themselves in crime and criminality, and of course being part of the statistics, the poor statistics that we are now have of necessity to encounter and to accept. Yeah. Another bad year for murders, 2024. Hi, my friend. So, but let me get back to, and people, if you could call in and tell me if you're getting some problems, I will stop that video and maybe organize it for tomorrow instead and continue with the Forex matter. But I thought I tried to encompass as much information as possible in one night, in the 2 to 3 hours, 2 hour period that we have together. And these nights, of course, only insisted that I go until 11 o'clock, and I am resisting that. So let's see how it pans out tonight. It's already, of course, 9:30, people. But let me say that my concern with respect to the brutality and the evil that is the Rowley administration extends to their lack of sympathy, empathy, consciousness, and their overall conduct in managing the affairs of the country, particularly on the economic front. Quite apart from the fact that, one, all major countries that would either be interested, their citizens that is, in investing here or as tourists, say to their residents, their citizens, don't come to Trinidad. But if you do, don't go Lavatil, and of course there's history. So we have very few, if not totally dried up, foreign direct investment in the country since Rowley came into office. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night, sir.
Good night, Lennox. Answer my call, boy. For 9 years, after tax, 9 months, after tax profit is $5.1 billion.
Yeah.
Maybe they should let the government some of the money they're making, because that is the only one prospering in this country right now. Everybody else catching it in.
But I think, but I think in the media sector, they would have floundered there as well as they did last year. I haven't gotten a hold of the report, the financial report of Answer McCall, but I suspect that trend will continue. But in other areas, they have excelled. Hold on, Miss Arima. I have another call in the line. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
That's always the case with them, because the newspaper industry gone through. People are buying newspaper. And they'll say you need to buy newspaper to take up dog food with it. I
mean, that's Adil for you. He's unique, right. and he would say something like that just to be as graphic as possible.
And they had an investigation into the bullying with this young boy, Cookie Life, right?
Yeah.
The police say they don't have enough evidence to show that he was bullied to kill himself.
All right.
I expected anything else than that.
No,
the police is
really,
arrest anybody for that?
Yeah. And when, of course, and when they running through some bush and they meet up 400 marijuana trees, they then say that is as a result of intelligence they got that.
What about the gun thing? What about the gun when they find the bunch of gun too?
Somebody, the cocaine that they got in a dragnet close to Grand Bazaar. Somebody, of course, maybe disgruntled, and they give them a tip-off. They say it's as a result of intelligence, that because they are intelligent and driven. I wonder what that really means. But go ahead, my friend.
I see last night and all, two fellas running inside a home. They call it a home invasion. That was saying one is playing a robbery. And they run in the man's house to kill the man, and the man and the assailant had a scuffle, and the fella who, the assailant himself, had 2 guns on him. Just imagine, robbers coming inside the house with 2 guns. So he was fighting up with 1 gun, he pulled out the next gun from the man with and shoot the man. Boy, you feel these gun fellas are easy. They not 1 gun, they come with 2.
Wow.
2 guns. He killed the assailant though, but I mean, they themselves identify the man. Firstly, they know who it was. And I'm sure it's somebody from that area.
Yeah, and then, of course, an apologist calling himself a criminologist is saying that home invasions or extortions are consequence of businessmen associated with unsavory characters. Just imagine that. How them come up with that, I don't know. I on the ground. I'm a criminologist in my own right. And you're going to come up with that kind of hogwash to what? Is a scare tactic or what? To defend the indefensible? To give the PNM some kind of excuse for the goings-on consequential of their own policies and programs that they have mismanaged the society with? I think it's appalling and a compromising of one's professional integrity. Ashamed to call myself a criminologist now. But go ahead.
CNC3 accustomed calling a man for years, and the man making spurious allegations against people, talking about all of these gangs and all these other criminal activities taking place because of this and that and
He
all
knows
kind of
nothing. He knows nothing.
And he have no proven facts of it, but just coming out with these sort of wild accusations. Anyway, have a good night. I go on.
Yes, of course. Let's go to the line. Ms. Arima, go ahead.
Yes, concerning this ID card thing going on, right? These people like them kind of thing. This ID card ain't come from no EBC. The ID card that the government give them, this work permit thing, is totally different to our national ID card.
Right.
Their ID card have our national colors, red, black, and white. Very nice piece of work, you know, design and thing.
Right,
that is how their ID card is. Nothing to do with our national ID card.
Okay, good.
No, this person who got caught, as I told you all, when they asked nationality, the part where they will after your nationality, it said Venezuelan. But yet, the person who do this thing, they do it bad. And like that person can't read English and they don't know, they fool him by stating he was born in Chaguanas.
Oh, I see.
So if they catch one, it will have several more.
Yeah, it's a fraudulent.
It will have several more, yes. To use that, you know, for business or whatever.
Yeah, for the purposes.
Now, what I want to say too is, as I told you, it does have money transfer and it have who love them.
Right.
You see, the ones who love them and just give them work and things, have them in their homes and things like how this young man there was saying that if anybody in Arima have room that, you know, they could put them up. I have room, you know, but let us pass. Because by me have place where they're working and thing on my side. So when they're thinking they're watching, because there's a kind of people that just move fast. They don't stay one place. They don't know how to move out from a place. So if they live in Chaguanas, or like Chaguanas, and they get a job on this side, they're so cheap. If all they think Chinese people, we just say Chinese people tight. Chinese are tight. You see them? Watch me. And if it's one person or their wife, there's a people that are accustomed living in room. So they just ask me if I have a room to rent.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah. And that is how they are. They would leave Chaguanas and they come on their next part where they get the job and they move out from there. There's a people that just move on. It don't bother them. But what I want to say is, next thing, they have a lot of, they have driving cars and things, and people want to know where they're getting license from, if it's from our, you know,
system.
Licensing. Yes, system.
Authority.
Thanks very much. Yeah. No, they just get the international, oh gosh.
Yeah. I know what that.
International
I drive
license.
American, so the international license.
Yeah.
Home
But
in
here
their
the
home
thing,
country, before they come here.
I want you all to cipher it out. Here the thing. Again, it have who love them. Hear what it is going on with that now. All right, they come here. They have 6 years here. They didn't have no international license. But, bam, they get it. They ain't go back to their country to get it, because to get that, you have to have that and then come here.
From home, yes.
You can't have that here.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from now?
Yeah. So they probably send back some photo or something like that, and I know a simple photograph will suffice with the stamp of the international organization.
And they're buying a lot of old cars, little cars for the 10,000 and thing, and they're moving with that.
Ms. Santa Cruz, just hold on, I have another person on the line.
Yeah, I'll finish in a while. So they're moving about with these old cars and with, you know, a car.
Yeah. All right then, Miss Arima. Yes, Miss Santa Cruz, welcome. Pleasant good night.
Good night, Lennox.
Yes,
good night,
pleasant good night to you as well. Yes.
Well,
indeed.
you know, tonight was the meeting at I think it's Naparima College with Mrs. Pasabdi says them.
Yes,
with
yes.
the educate. Lennox, I thought you would have been there being an educator. I still call you an educator, eh? Yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm here, so I'm really not too far.
Lennox, it was really nice, you know.
Okay.
It was really, really nice. And according to what she said, people stuck to the issues. They didn't, you know, stray. They didn't go into roads. They didn't go. But she said, Thursday night in Chaguanas, they will have that other meeting. But tonight meeting was to help build their education manifesto. So you see, Lennox, when people want to talk crap, you understand? Like they have to call them empty dustbins banging on the pavement, right? That she's not doing anything or she's not going out and meeting the people.
Right.
Look at it. She went out there tonight, right? Dr. Dowlat was there and asking and telling the people to bring forward all their suggestions. You ever hear the PNM asking people to come forward with suggestions with their manifesto? And then you have one on the chat, always talk about come the manifesto. Imagine the man said they should close down the desal plant. You understand? I'm telling you,
is mad people parading as the same people in this country? What are they about close down desal plants? Why?
Yeah.
You don't have water when the desal plant is there.
Yeah.
It closed down for a few weeks or so. I mean, it's better
Lennox,
than
we
a
had
permanent scenario.
But Lennox, he find that that's a waste of time. Close down the desal plant. Lennox said it's really hard to
I don't people get water,
tell me this thing.
As difficult as it is when the desal plant is around. You want to make it horrendous. You want to make it impossible. You want to make, I mean, stone or something like that into water, if it's so. Yeah.
Lennox, you know, it is really hard to laugh. You know, if you don't cuss, you're going to laugh.
Of course.
Right? If you don't cuss,
that's
I forget to tell you.
Mental vomit.
Lennox. Yeah, no, and I forget to tell you, I have a second language, you know, obscene. I have a master's in it. And anytime you want me to translate for you, Lennox, anytime you want me to translate for you,
but
Lennox,
we have heard enough to certify you as such.
No, Lennox.
No, enough, just enough. Just enough.
Just enough.
I could really imagine how much more is there.
Yes, Lennox, let me tell you something. You know, some people know a second language, but they can't translate.
Yes,
but here, I can translate for you. Anyway, Lennox, the meeting was really, really nice tonight.
Great,
and I guess when you get a chance, you will go and listen to all the things that the people had to. Lennox, our education system under this nasty PNM government, I would have to say, I would say it is in stress. Yeah. When you hear people coming forward tonight and talking about what is going on and the length of time they have to wait. But I always used to say that I always raise that on the ground report because I have a lot of family that are teachers and they would tell me, Lennox, the length of time it takes for you to get a counselor to come into schools for the children, right? Because there are a lot of children, whether we want to accept it or not, Lennox, there are a lot of children that are being abused, right? And they try to get counselors for them, and the children falling through the system, you know? And it's sad, it's sad. But tonight meeting Lennox, and you know who was there? Philip Alexander, and he came to endorse her. He came to endorse as well. I saw God, Gary Griffith must be getting a conniption. You understand? And one of the things,
one person's misery is the next man's joy, I suppose.
Yeah.
The enemy friend. Or the friend of my enemy is my friend.
The enemy of my enemy. Yeah, the enemy of my enemy. Lennox, and one of the things that was raised, and as a parent myself who was very active in PTA, one of the things, and under the NAR government, Clive Panton, he implemented the issues of no homework for the children. And that is what Lennox, some of these children have too much homework. And parents and the teachers parents and teachers raise that tonight about the homework and all this kind of thing. And Lennox, before I leave, before your external correspondent leave here tonight, I just want to let you know, I might not have a lot of gifts, but one great gift God gave me was the gift of a photographic memory, right? That I could, you know, it was a photographic memory, right, Lennox? And it will take me from the cradle to the grave. And I pray, Lennox, that I don't get Alzheimer's or anything to lose that lovely benefit that God gifted me with. Yes, a photogenic memory, a photogenic memory. Yeah. Yeah, you understand? And Lennox, some of us might not have a crown on our head, but some of the gift our gift showing when we speak or whatever.
Yes.
But as I said, that was one of the gifts that God gave me, Lennox, and I am very, very thankful for it. Thank you, Lennox, and have a good night. And when you get a chance, you listen to that meeting tonight. It was really good. You take care.
Of necessity, I have to comment on it tomorrow morning on the ground report before we reach the corridor. So you know, so I have to be always alert. I make it a personal duty and responsibility to always be abreast. If only to just touch or minimal, but I must, rather than of course not being aware at all.
And especially Lennox, the part about the homework with the children.
Great,
right?
Great. I have my own concerns
really
as an educator myself. I will certainly make a contribution to that as well. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, Lennox, you take care and have a good night.
Yes.
And I'm still listening to you.
Yes,
all right.
Yes. Thank you very much, of course, for that contribution. And of course, that was our external correspondent, Ms. Santa Cruz, of course, making her usual input. And of course, you would forgive us if we animately engage in order, of course, to bring out more information that normally will not be able to suffice simply because we would have been engaged in respectful, of course, monologues. So when we have discussion, healthy discussion, it means therefore that brings out more information. I'm getting a echoing. I don't know where that is coming from. I don't know. I trust that is not in studio. Yes, but I have the mic off. So something has gone wrong. Something has gone wrong tonight. My trust is not affecting you out there, and I'm getting an echo that I will have to address a little later. So we'll pursue. Let me just say quickly that I'm not going to talk about what I wanted to talk about in terms of the education facilities company and the evil that is the Rowley administration stymied, of course, small businessmen. I'll leave that for tomorrow. Let me go straight, of course, to what Miss Arima raised, and that is to say that now that the horse has bolted, the Rowley and they are trying, of course, to get back some semblance of the oil refinery. And I say that he is so damn dishonest. He will not tell us, for example, why she was boasting about not patriotic, but heritage, the company that is responsible for looking after and drilling and of course finding from a local perspective, from a governmental perspective, oil and gas with the various holdings that they would have come under their portfolio. And he boasted that the war between Ukraine and Russia would have brought a windfall of over $8 billion, so much so that he was able, of course, to add 2% to the public servants' negotiations for increased salary. But what he failed to tell us, and that is where we must be very strident and very firm and very conscious that these people are deliberate in terms of their attempts to hoodwink and gaslight and deceive. He never told us about if the oil refinery was operating Today we would have been bathing in US money, bathing in foreign exchange. We would not have had at least that situation where the banks have to cut in half credit cards, and of course not being able, especially if you are not a customer, you are unable as a citizen to purchase at $50 in any one of the banks in this country. That is what Rowley has put us in. And today, he's fighting up, of course, to try to somehow extricate himself from the culpability, having, of course, acted contrary and inimical to the interests of the public's good, of the people's good, of the citizens' good, of taxpayers. That is a reality. Let's go, and I'm going to forego, of course. I'm going to forego. Wait, Mark.
You are satisfied enough about the quality of this proposal that you're willing to tell Patriotic, I don't want your $700 million.
That's all over.
We live in a country in which foreign exchange is very difficult to get.
Yeah, sometimes.
You are satisfied enough about the quality of this proposal that you're willing to tell Patriotic, I don't want your $700 million check, US $1 million check. I'm only concerned about getting this refinery restarted as quickly as possible.
I'll explain why. We have to give Carrier Fuel Trading $20 million US a month.
Let's pause and take the call. Let's pause and take the call. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. All right. Okay. I think. Thank you very much for that. Heads up. All right. Okay. Let's see what's happening. All right. I think I see what has happened. Okay. I think I've corrected it. Thanks very much for that. I knew I was hearing something in the background there. Thanks, caller. But you can call in now. I think the matter has been solved. Somebody call in and let me know. I think it has been solved. All right. I think it has been solved. So you can call back and let me know. Anybody? Yes. So let me get back, of course, to that matter of the forex, not the forex, but the oil refinery. Very important because the government clearly is all over the place now looking to get a buyer to get it back. Remember, when Patriotic had offered $7 million US in addition or as part of their bid, Rowley and them say, no, take 10 years. Remember that? And the initial reason for closing it down was that they had $850 million as a bullet payment to pay by the following August of that year when it was shut down. And my common sense tells me that Rowley and them should be in jail, because if it is that you had a problem with the $850 million and Patriotic was prepared to provide $700 million with the deal, the oil refinery having already been closed, one would have expected in the public's interest, in taxpayers' interest, in the national interest, in, of course, being a patriot and, of course, not being, of course, subverter of the national good, the national pride, the national interest. You would have taken the blasted $800 million US, but you didn't. And now you're talking hogwash. And let me tell you this, people. Imsbert recently, in an attempt, of course, to try to gaslight, hoodwink, deceive with their innuendo agenda and their cacophonous babblings and their ambulatory verbalizations. Totally puerile, total hogwash, and clearly attempting once again to deceive. He talks about, of course, the foreign exchange reserve is now about $6 billion. The level of criminality in terms of their mentality is unfathomable. But because here it is, in saying so, he did not tell us that they met a blasted $10 billion that was left by Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC in 2015, and therefore what he was talking about is about half of what they would have met in 2015, left by Kamala Persad-Bissessar. No, they studiously, they deliberately avoid telling the people that, and pretending, of course, there is no need for them to blast it, apologize for their incompetence, impotence, mismanagement, and at the same time has created the condition, and clearly the IMF was only waiting for an opportunity to say you breach a fundamental clause in your arrangement with the IMF. But that clause 8, 2, I believe it is, that says that when people make demands for foreign exchange, for import and to pay bills and so on, the government has a duty to make it available. But he then talks about, of course, the reserve as if they were not responsible for depleting it with such rapidity. Is as if they were engaged in gourmandization. Yes, gourmandization, greedy eating of our resources. And so it has moved from 10 billion to, and don't get me vexed before I play it, you know. Don't get me vexed, you know. You sycophants and you dunderheaded near the wells, and of course, apologists. You can't escape. The reality is that, and people's reality as well is that as a consequence of that, people are feeling the ache, pain, agony, and of course their aunt Nenen and everything else, they are of course having to either vicariously or naturally or directly have to carry that blasted burden, particularly when you are a single salaried individual or a senior or major salary provider for a family at minimum of 3 or 5. The breadwinner talking about. That is what they have done to us. And before you get the hell out of government and resign from the position that you hold, you continue, of course, to try to burden us with your iniquities and your incompetence and your criminalistic behavior and believe that we are asses. I say to you, hold on your tail. Go on from here. And we must be as angry as we can be, because that is what they have driven us to. Look at the murder rate today. And as the caller rightly said, another in a succession of records. Coming into government, the record was 537 murders in 2008 under Manning. You want to tell me that people don't understand that the PNM is the bane of the country? Is a disaster that is Trinidad and Tobago today and into the future? And that they must not see the light of day politically and otherwise? Because they will continue like a dog sucking egg. They will continue, of course, on their nefarious agenda if we do not put a stop to it as a people. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Are you hearing any echo now?
No,
Oh,
Mr. Lennox. No,
good.
not at all. Mr. Lennox, listen, good night. Good night to everybody in the chat.
Yes.
Good night, Sean and Tobago. Mr. Lennox, I don't know if people understand this Forex issue, but here what happened. Wait until you see after Christmas and the year closes and people can't get Forex to do the business, then it go hit home and they will understand the mess that this evil bunch of scamps, this wicked Imbert and Rowley and them, what they have done to this country. Let me tell you something. Them fellas and them commit treason, you know. Them fellas should be in jail.
It is.
Every time I watch news, I just get vexed, you know. You see, right now, I tripping mad right now, you know. But I swear this isn't like the cuss, you know, because I'd be cussing. But I don't like to use French. You understand? But then, Mr. Lennox, I go with that man because I too
Yes,
vexed.
man, yes, be angry as the elasticity of your tolerance will allow, because it is time for everybody in Trinidad and Tobago to express such expression, such an emotion, because they have brought it upon themselves and as a consequence upon us.
Yes, I got Mr. Lennox.
All right, yes, my friend. Thank you very much. But let's get back, of course, to that video that, of course, where Rowley and they are now, of course, begging for the oil refinery to be reinstated. What you're closing down for in the first place? And you close it down because that's a rhetorical question. I asking only for no answer. You close it down because the cabinet decided to try to save Rowley from the criminal investigation that was ensued and not yet completed, but placed on the back burner by a very amenable and, of course, condescending commissioner of police, relating to Rowley and his involvement in, of course, the fake oil matter, full stop, and all of the other P&M elements that would have been involved, including, of course, Dulki Singh, who we cannot find at this time. Let us not waste time. And therefore, that is treason. That is a betrayal of the oath of office and the people of Trinidad and Tobago to our detriment. And they must feel the pain and the ache and the agony that they have perpetrated on the people. Let's start back again with, of course, the old question of the property tax and the question, and not property tax, sorry, the Petrotrin or refinery, and the fact that we missed a golden opportunity to be awash in foreign exchange. Nobody knew that Ukraine and Russia would have been engaged. Just as how Rowley could talk about the benefits that were derived or came out as a consequence of that war for Heritage, the oil company that came out of the mashing up of Petrotrin. It's the same way he had a duty and responsibility at minimum to inform us and to give us a scenario if the oil refinery was operating, the kind of money Trinidad and Tobago would have been, of course, the beneficiary of. And since he doesn't want to do it dishonestly, we will do it. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night again, Lennox. One for the road.
Go ahead.
I want to tell the caller, if you don't want to speak French, I could do it for you. And I'm a good translator. Anyway, Lennox, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. These people really feel that we are a bunch of fools, asses, as we like to say, in this country, you know, Lennox. Lennox, 64 million was spent for the Lashley and the other report, telling them do not shut down Petrotrin. That man, Espine, had to go to the industrial court and telling them that he never said to shut down Petrotrin, right? Rowley told us, if you're closing the fridge door and you didn't hear, we are not closing down Petrotrin, right? They went and they closed down Petrotrin. And we all know why. We all know why. It's like it's the elephant in the room, right? And now all they're coming up because all they can't get sales for it. All they lied. They lied about Roger and them. They did not want to give Roger. And lied and said the man bring fortune, but they don't want it good for Roger. Because up to now, have you heard anything about from Roger saying that Stuart Young lied about the false papers? Not a word in English. I don't know if I was closing the fridge door and I didn't hear anything, right? And now they are trying to tell us that they want to restart the refinery. That's an election gimmick, Lennox.
Of course it is.
They know they're going to fool the people. They have nothing else to fool the people with. So they're going to lie to them and tell them they're going to restart the refinery. Start it with what? All they said was not making money, and you shut it down. Why come no one restart it? That would be like all the old boat and them that they buy. And have the sea bridge. Look at the condition of the sea bridge. Lennox, let me tell you something. If people in this country don't wise up and kick these PNMites out of office, something is wrong, you know.
Of course.
And as I always keep saying, and Woodbrook keep repeating it as well, right? Why it is only not opening all the eyes and see what's going on. Somebody had to convince Olia to come out. And if Kamala ain't coming out, Olia ain't coming out. Olia not facing groceries. Olia not facing... Lennox, let me tell you something, A friend of mine,
yes.
Apparently she had laser surgery. And it didn't go well. And she's blinded in one eye. You know now what another doctor is telling her? Pay me $60,000 and I can restore your eyesight.
Wow.
She said, I am a pensioner. Where am I getting $60,000 to pay you? Anyway, she's in the eye clinic at the hospital, right? You know, it was last week. We in November. It was the 28th, I think, of October. She had an appointment down there. When she went and she took the latest, I don't know what test they sent her for. She said the doctor did not even get up and put the report in a machine, check with somebody. All the doctor look at it and say, this is not clear, you know. You have to do this over. And she just paid $400 to have that test done.
Wow.
So, Lennox, why does people have to convince us, right, to go out there and protest against this government? Are we blind? Don't we have feelings that all you waited on somebody to help pull all you out there? That's a whole set of hogwash, Lennox. And the sooner they realize that will be the better for them. And you see this thing with the refinery, they should tell him, but now we have to take it and put it. Thanks a lot, Lennox, and have a good night.
Well, yes,
Till
indeed.
tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. And I want to say to you, you have a conscience, all of you. You have a conscience. And as you witness the deterioration of the society, where families are being dismantled, where community neighborhoods are being degraded, and of course where villages are disintegrating, and where of course regional corporations are struggling to make ends meet in the service of their burgesses, and the country is engulfed like a conflagration, a huge fire, destroying the moral, ethical, religious, and social fabric of the society. You're telling me that you don't know that you have a duty and responsibility. You are 18 years and above, and if you are 18 and not yet gotten your ID card, which suggested that you are now capable or is in the position or authorized to vote, that you will not, of course, go out there when the time comes with the hatred you have for the PNM and Rowley, and of course make certain that you effect the change that is required, because we know we can do better. We know we must do better, and with the resources that was put at the disposal of Rowley, and we know that they must account for it, because they have done us harm and they have done us wrong, and therefore they must face the penalty as they have imposed upon us, the ache, the pain, the agony, and the stress. By next year, we would then say, for the last 10 years. Let us not waste time. You have a conscience. Let's hear closing, of course, I'm still unable to finish that aspect of the Forex, with, of course, Wayne Mack's contribution. But tomorrow we may have some additional information coming out of that exercise under the auspices of the leader of the opposition and the UNC on the education and what should be in their manifesto. Of course, I will make some comments on that as far as grassroots is concerned, and those persons who are not academically inclined, but they are part and parcel of the society, and therefore we must have an educational platform, an educational matrix that will, of course, not only incite or excite them, but have them gravitate so that they can be the best they can be in the circumstance. And who knows, they themselves may want, of course, to generate the level of excellence that they too can, of course, excel and become, of course, academics in their own right. So those are some of the issues and the prospects and the vision that we must have for ourselves. And what we are doing on the corridor transformation is merely, of course, being an aqueduct or a conveyor or a receptacle for disseminating the ideas that you can participate in and actively become involved. Let's take this call. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, dear Lennox.
Good night to you.
Lennox,
yeah.
I forget to tell you, boy, the dissidents and them, they want camera to start screening because they say in the PNM one step ahead, right? So they want to be replaced in advance. They're making the couture all over the place. I don't understand them, you know. They have a process to everything, right? And them want a fast track thing so that when they know they get ousted, they could go in front of the media and talk a pack of rubbish, like if they ain't talking enough now. Listen,
well, I have full faith in the leadership of the UNC. I think they are very strategic. And as I said 2 nights ago, and of course on the Gov report, I made it very clear that some people have certain expectations, boots on the ground notwithstanding, but we know the enemy that we are dealing with, and that therefore there are some who would have to engage necessarily confrontation physically, and there are others who will be more what I consider to be amorphous or academically inclined in order to academic disposition of a strategic nature in order to get rid of this albatross called the PNM, and Rowley in particular, a total rapist and pedophile who claims to be the leader of a party that says that it has longevity, but has, of course, deteriorated to the point where it is now in the abyss of what I consider to be irrelevance and extinction.
You know, the 5 of them come like 4 convicts on death row, you know.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for the time for the execution.
Yes, man.
And they
yes,
will
man.
get the time.
Very good analogy.
They will get the time to be executed. There's a matter of time for them.
Yes.
And you know, instead of they try to breach the wrong that
they will not. They can't because they have gone too far. They have gone too far. There's a point of no return. They are at that point, and therefore it is impossible for them to do so. And again, of course, there is some spiritual, what I consider to be engulfment that they would have been engulfed in. That is why they confess from time to time, because who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad, so that the people will see never again must be a PNM administration in this country.
I want them to take note of what happened in America. Donald Trump ousted the same way as this.
Yes, persecuted,
right?
and of course ridiculed to the.
Right. He made a comeback at age 78, you know.
Yes, yes.
And he got the nod of the American people based on referendum.
And in a maze of what the society will consider to be inhospitable environment, the criminal justice system notwithstanding, to which he has been subjected. All right, my friend, we'll have to go. Yes.
All right. We go talk about.
Yes, we'll talk tomorrow. Of course, let's go straight, of course, to that video. Let's complete that.
we live in a country in which foreign exchange is very difficult to get.
Okay. Sometimes.
You are satisfied enough about the quality of this proposal that you're willing to tell Patriotic, I don't want your $700 million check, US $1 million check. I'm only concerned about getting this refinery restarted as quickly as possible.
I'll explain why. We have to give Paria fuel trading $20 million US a month for the importation of fuel, $250 million US a year. If the refinery is restarted, then that obligation on the part of the Ministry of Finance will disappear. So again, understand our focus is on the restart of the refinery. There are several benefits to it.
I had to pause because I want to make sure every one of you understand what he just said. The hurry to restart the oil refinery, in the early days, that's not recent, but they've been doing so for the past 9 years. Well, not 9 years, but since it closed down, they've been trying to, of course, get somebody to take up the responsibility. But what he said there is very telling, you know. He said that every month they have to find $20 million US to give Paria to import fuel. And if the oil refinery is restarted, that is money they wouldn't have to find. No, I want you to understand how convoluted and how, should I say, clearly dunderheaded and stupid and rock-headed and nincompoopish these fellas are. Because how do you reconcile that now with Rowley saying that you have to import, and it's something they can't afford, 100,000 barrels of oil in order to reach where Imbert is saying now we could reach. Notice that. And Rowley saying that they were losing, of course, $7 to $10 on every barrel. Here Imbert talking something totally different. Totally different, people. You understand how deep your hatred must be for these people. So that when you go to the polls, nothing could sway you other than making certain you do your duty. Listen to him. And the journalist rightly said, as I have questioned, well, you have refused $700 million. And one of the reasons for closing down Petrotrin, according to Rowley, was that you was owing $850 million. Well, last time I know that if you take $7 million from $850 million, you remain with $150 million. It means, therefore, you would have wiped out a substantial part of the debt that all you, through Malcolm Jones and others, incurred, which we are saddled with and must repay. Otherwise, we become, of course, persona non grata as far as the international community is concerned, particularly those persons who we are owing this money, our creditors. Understand that. So this is a dangerous situation. These people have put us in a quagmire, in a bind, and still looking, of course, to remain in office. It is inexplicable. It is unfathomable. It is unheard of. It is, of course, a case of exacerbating our tolerance of these people. And I'm sure, like one of the callers, other things other than being patient would come across people's minds to do them because they take us for asses. Let's continue.
One is, as I said, an improvement of our national GDP, and the other is the fact that we should be relieved of that foreign exchange requirement where we have to give Paria $20 million US a month.
Say that you refer to the fact that the $20 million US you have to give Paria, is it on a monthly basis?
Yes.
And you said that could disappear with the...
We have to get that before. When you...
I would have hoped I wouldn't get the next call, but go ahead, caller. We give you always the priority. Go ahead.
Off air?
Not yet, no.
I want to call you off here. I have something to talk to you about.
No problem. Yes, call me after the program. It should be next 15 minutes or so. It's 19 minutes past 10 already. I'm trying my best to get not to reach 11 o'clock. All right.
Refinery being operated, they earned enough foreign exchange from sales, so that they earned more foreign exchange from the sales of refined products, from fuel, from gasoline and diesel, than it cost them to purchase the crude to put through the refinery. So they were net foreign exchange. So that one of the things we expect to come out of this is that we no longer would have to provide any of those companies, including the operator of the refinery, with foreign exchange to import fuel.
Yes, people, it's sad. It's extremely sad. Extremely sad. It's clear they did not know what they were doing, still do not know, and believe they can lie their way, hoodwink their way back into our presence. I say to them, on your behalf, conclusively, get the hell out now. People, of course, we have come to the end. Tomorrow night, of course, we will continue with, of course, that Forex issue that is yet to be resolved. Again, Rowley and they, the disaster that they are, the failure that they are, and the destruction that they have perpetrated on the civilization called Trinidad and Tobago in every sphere of operation. And we need to let them know it as it is. As we do here and elsewhere. Of course, don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself. Don't forget, of course, as well, from 6 to 9, we are on social media. And then from 9 to 10 o'clock, we are on, from 8. From 8 o'clock, we are on social media. We are on Gaia, the Caribbean, for 2 hours. And, of course, we invite all of our CARICOM brothers and sisters to, of course, share with us some of your thoughts. We know that, of course, the Trump administration is upon us. And as a people, we must, of course, have a collective position. And even though, of course, all politics is domestic, but certainly we can agree to disagree. And we can, of course, collectively confront issues that are common to us. Because, as it is said, divided we fall, united we will stand. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. But tonight I have to conclude, of course, with something that is befitting Rowley and they, befitting them, having regard, of course, to the evil that they have perpetrated on the people. Let me make sure and have it ready. I didn't plan to do so because I thought we would have had a more Christmassy kind of finish. But that being as it may, let us, of course, go straight, of course, to one of the pieces of music that is appropriate for the closing of this program tonight, having regard, of course, to the evil that is Rowley and the PNM. They deserve nothing better than, of course, to be told as it is. And that is where we must end. Yes, indeed, out of an abundance of appropriacy. Young people have a responsibility.
PNM must go. Tell them go. PNM must go. Everyone's coming out to bring about a change. I see young and old, we crying out for this. Yeah, one top government to feel policy, a government to do joke, a government to do fight we down, a government to do work, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, no without the bullet man everybody. PNM must go. Tell them go. go. Hey, now everybody let's vote. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. The only time to resign. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. When you see him waving bye-bye, everything's selling out. You're not working out again. Rolly had to go. It's only draw. Like they will wipe out we name. Rolly had to go. Yeah, we want a government to deal policy, a government to the joke, a government to the fight we down, a government to the smoke, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in sweetie and
I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years it's the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless.
Begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If I some sinners coming, with them I go be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter, wait, Peter.
From the Trinidad, location 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
Sailing the Caribbean Sea with an old captain named Eric Williams. For yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly, Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a ball. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we got.
Protect the future. Vote PNM.
I'm the other. I want to invoke the doctor and then write him a letter. I want to ask him a question, if he knew what was going on. The other day I was passing, I hear people complaining. He is the man with the answer, but he quite over yonder. They say, snake in the valley, snake in the valley.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Snake in the valley, and they biting hard. Snake in the valley, I'm sorry for Trinidad. I want to invoke the doctor and then write him a letter. I want to ask him a question, if he knew what was going on. The other day I was passing, I hear people complaining. He is the man with the answer, but he quite over yonder. They say, snake in the valley, snake in the valley.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Snake in the valley, and they biting hard. Snake in the valley, I'm sorry for Trinidad. Big snakes in the country, man, they worse than Mappy feet. When they're making the racket, they just dress up in nice jacket. Some big fat mackerel, drink out the
we live in a country in which foreign exchange is very difficult to get.
Yeah, sometimes.
You are satisfied enough about the quality of this proposal that you're willing to tell Patriotic, I don't want your $700 million check, US $1 million check. I'm only concerned about getting this refinery restarted as quickly as possible.
I'll explain why. We have to give Paria Fuel Trading $20 million US a month for the importation of fuel, $250 million US a year. If the refinery is restarted, then that obligation on the part of the Ministry of Finance will disappear. So again, understand our focus is on the restart of the refinery. There are several benefits to it. One is, as I said, an improvement of our national GDP, and the other is the fact that we should be relieved of that foreign exchange requirement, where we have to give Paria $20 million US a month.
Say that you referred to the fact that the $20 million US you have to give Paria, is it on a monthly basis?
Yes.
And you said that will disappear with the...
But we didn't have to give that before. When the refinery was being operated, they earned enough foreign exchange from sales, so that they earned more foreign exchange from the sales of refined products, from fuel, from gasoline and diesel, than it cost them to purchase the crude to put through the refinery. So they were net foreign exchange, so that